If you have followed my channel up until now, you could see that I upload reaction videos to movies and TV shows about history and wars. But also, one of the things I would like to do on this channel is to visit locations where these movies and TV shows took place. And for that, I'm now in these woods behind me. And this is not just any woods, this is the famous Bois Jacques. And in these woods, in 1944, December of 1944 and January of 1945, Easy Company was stationed here during the Battle of the Bulge. And we're just outside of Bastogne. And yeah, we're going to take a look around these woods. And I'm going to show you some locations where events from the TV shows actually took place. The real locations. All this behind me in those woods, the Bois Jacques. Before we go in and explore the Bois Jacques and visit the locations from Band of Brothers, I want to tell you a little something about this fence and gate behind me. A couple of years ago, I think it was in 2021, they decided to fence off a part of the Bois Jacques, and you have to now pay to get in. If you go to the Bastogne War Museum, you buy a ticket for that museum, you also get entry into this part of the woods. They have like a augmented reality thing going with an app you have to download on your phone, and you can see what this section of the woods looked like back during the war. I'm not going to go in because, quite frankly, I hate the fact that they fenced off this piece of history. People bled, people died in these woods to liberate it from the Germans, and now you have to pay to enter this piece of history. And I find it, for lack of a better word, disgusting that they decided to do that. And yeah, they say it's for preservation of these woods, but you know, there are foxholes all over the place, and they're not preserving those foxholes, only the ones behind here. And Easy Company was not just in this area, they were all over the place. So yeah, everybody has to decide for themselves if you want to pay to enter these woods. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to do it. If you want to see Easy Company foxholes, it's not necessary to just enter this section. You can find them all over the place. And yeah, so everybody has to decide for themselves. I'm not going to do it. There's one foxhole that's connected to Band of Brothers behind this fence, and that's the foxhole of Walter Smoky Gordon. And I'm going to try to locate it and film it from the outside of the fence. On the episodes of Band of Brothers that take place in this area of the Bois Jacques, there are a couple of scenes where we can see Winters in his command post, or CP. And there's one scene where he's trying to shave himself with the frozen water. And that command post is located right behind me. You can see this tree sticking out of the landscape. And around that tree, that's where his command post was. And if you walk in the brush, it's a little bit overgrown now. But if you walk in there, and you can still see some foxholes around that tree. And that's where 2nd Battalion command post was. He was an executive officer at the time. And so yeah, that's where it was located. I'm now walking in a piece of the Bois Jacques right next to the fence. And the entrance to the fenced-off area is right over there, so I'm walking in the opposite direction. And you can see the fence here, and people have made like wooden crosses from branches they found in the woods. And every time you come here, this is not the first time I visited this area. It changes a lot because a lot of this area is used for cutting down trees and stuff like that. So the landscape changes every time you get here. But you can see right here there was the remnants of what used to be a foxhole. So this is the fenced off area, and you have a foxhole right here. I gotta tell everybody, don't think that every foxhole you see here was made by Easy Company. A lot of these foxholes were dug after the war. The Belgian army used to do a lot of exercises in this area, and they dug a lot of foxholes as well. And people like reenactors have dug foxholes in this area, and also people who are scouring this area with metal detectors, trying to find like relics and artifacts from the war. So not every foxhole is made by an Easy Company member. You can see one right here as well. It's a pretty big one. So they get redug, and yeah, those logs and those branches that you see here, those are not from the war. People placed them there after the war. Here we have two foxholes pretty close together. There's one, and there's one right here. So yeah, I'm not an historian by any means, so I'm not sure which foxhole is genuine, which one are actually from the war, which ones are dug after the war by the Belgian army. You can see one here. You know, this is a pretty deep one. But if this is a real foxhole from World War II, it used to be a lot bigger, of course. But yeah, we're almost 80 years later, and yeah, these foxholes get filled up, of course, by branches and leaves and other stuff. There's another one right here. So yeah, that's this part of the woods, and yeah, like you can see, there's foxholes all over the place. You can go to the edge of the woods here, and behind that, over here, you can see in the distance the town of Foy, or Foy as the Americans would pronounce it. A little bit up the road from where we just were, you can find this memorial to the men of Easy Company. You can see the Screaming Eagle on the monument, and it says 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne Company E. And it has a list of the names of the men that were killed during the Battle of the Bulge in this area. John Julian is on there, Hoopler, of course, Makken Penkala, Mallet, who was killed in Foy by the sniper, and a bunch of other men that died here. From the memorial that we just saw, I made it over to this part of the woods, and this is the part of the Bois Jacques where on December 21st, 1944, a small patrol of like 8 men went out on a patrol to find the Germans and their positions. And you can see on Band of Brothers that one of those guys on that patrol was John Julian, and he got shot in the throat, and that happened in this part of the woods right here. The exact location where that happened is of course very difficult to pin down, but it happened in this general area. You can see over here up on this ridge line, there's now a bike path. There used to be train tracks, and the patrol moved alongside these train tracks where they came under heavy enemy fire. And one of the guys that was on the patrol was Babe Hepfron, at least on the show it was. He wasn't on the patrol in real life, but he was very close friends with John Julian, and some of the other men came over to him and said, "Babe, John Julian has been shot and they can't reach him." And so he left his position, he left his foxhole, and he made it over to this location right here and tried to get to him. And that's a story that the real Babe Heffron has told, because there are quite a few accounts going around. Some people say, you know, that John Julian was evacuated immediately and that he died shortly after. But Babe Heffron himself said that they tried to reach him and they couldn't. And if you go to John Julian's grave on the Luxembourg cemetery, you can see that his date of death is January 1st. That's actually not the case. He died on December 21st, the date of that patrol. And you know, they mixed up his date of death, and I'm not really sure if January 1st is the day they recovered his body, or if that's the day that they exhumed his body from the temporary graveyard that he was buried in and moved him to Luxembourg. I don't know, it's one of those two, I think. But yeah, if you ever visit the Luxembourg American Cemetery, you will see that date of death on his cross, and that's not the case. On the memorial that we just saw, his date of death is listed correctly, December 21st, 1944. And that all happens right here in this area. In the beginning of this video I was ranting on about the fenced off area and the gate, and that I wasn't going to pay to get inside, and you know, I was trying to capture everything outside of the fence and everything. But a couple of days later, now I'm on the tour with View 506, and our tour guide Reg, he arranged for the entire tour group to enter the fenced off area for free. So I'm now inside the fenced off area. I didn't pay for it, so I kept my promise. So I'm gonna take full advantage of the situation. So we're right up along the fenced off area. You can see the road up to Bastogne right here. And along this fenced off area right now, along the side of the road, that's where 1st platoon of Easy Company was stationed. They dug their foxholes. And this foxhole right here, this is the foxhole of Walter Smokey Gordon. And we know this because veterans came back to this place and they talked about it. And you can see on the show the moment where Walter Smokey Gordon is shot through the shoulder. The bullet enters one shoulder and exits the other one, and he gets paralyzed. On that scene, he was making some coffee for himself, and there's a big German attack coming from that direction, and that's when he gets shot through the shoulder. Well, in reality, it wasn't a big German attack. It was 2 German snipers who were out in these woods looking for Americans, and they saw probably Smokey sitting here in this foxhole, and they took a shot, or at least one of them did, and they shot him through the shoulder. He was paralyzed from the neck down. He was dragged from the foxhole by a couple of guys. Doug Rowe treated him, and he was evacuated behind the lines back to England and eventually back to the United States. He regained his mobility, but the wound in his back and shoulder, he had pain from that from the rest of his life basically. But the war was over for him, and so yeah, this is the foxhole of Walter Smokey Gordon. And the foxhole right next to Smokey Gordon ones, this one was by Earl McClung and Amos Buck Taylor. And those 2 guys went after the sniper, which retreated back into the woods over there, and they went after him and they killed the 2 snipers that shot Smokey Gordon. Another event that also took place in these woods right here in the fenced off area is the death of Donald Hubler. On the show you can see that he shoots a German officer and he takes his Luger from him. He actually did shoot a German officer on the other side of the road where we're doing some patrols, really close to the area where John Julian got killed. So he did shoot the German officer, but he didn't take his gun, he didn't take his Luger. But he did have a gun in his pocket, which he got after the Crossroads battle in the Netherlands. And after he shot the German officer, he went back to the positions here in the Bois Jacques, which is now inside the fenced off area. And he was going from foxhole to foxhole to foxhole to show off, to brag about his story. I shot a German officer, you know. I don't know if he was on horseback or not, like on the show, but so we went to foxhole. And all of a sudden, oh, I'm sun in my face. All of a sudden, some snow fell onto his neck from the trees, and he tried to shrug it off, or he was startled by the cold snow in his neck. And that's when the gun went off. It wasn't actually a Luger, it was a different weapon. Some say it was a Belgian 32 caliber pistol. Our guide Reg just told us it was a World War I gun with no safety on it. I don't know, I wasn't there, so, but we do know it wasn't a Luger, and we do know that on the show he dies from that gunshot, and that happened in real life as well, because the bullet from that gun severed the artery in his leg and he bled out in a matter of minutes, which is a wound, you know, that's really lethal, and it's still lethal until today. You have to clamp off the artery to stop the bleeding, which we see Dark Road trying to do on the show. He fails and Hoopler bleeds out, and to me it's always one of the most tragic deaths on the show, and every death is tragic, but his death always seems to me extra pointless, you know. Getting shot by the enemy is bad enough, but shooting yourself in the leg and dying is just pointless and tragic to me. So yeah, that also happened right here in these woods. One of the locations also inside the fence is the place where Joe Toye and Bill Guarnere lost their legs. I mean, I'm now standing in that location where that happened, and you know, you might ask, how do you know this? You know, Reg, the tour guide that I'm with, he went back to this place with Bill Guarnere, the real Bill Guarnere, and he pointed it out to him. So on the show you first see Joe Toye getting hit, his leg is blown off, and then Guarnere goes over to him to help him, to drag him to safety to a foxhole, and then a shell hits a tree close to him and his leg gets shredded. So yeah, this is that location. I've now made my way to a different location close to the Bois Jacques, and this is the location where the attack on Foy, or Foy as the Americans pronounced it, took off. And actually this field right behind me, this is the field that Easy Company had to cross to reach the town of Foy. So these are the woods that Easy Company was stationed in January of 1945 when they attacked the town of Foy. This is the tree line now, but back in those days in 1945 the tree line extended way more into this field right here, and you can see like this hill, and on the top of that small hill, that's all the way the location where the trees extended to. So from that location, Easy Company had to cross like 200-250 meters to reach the town of Foy, and that's also the location where Lieutenant Dyke basically fell apart, as Carwood Lipton would stated. On Band of Brothers, Lieutenant Dyke is basically portrayed as a coward who, you know, goes off a lot. They call him Foxhole Norman because he stays in his foxhole all the time and he disappears for a certain amount of times. But you know, we know that he earned 2 Bronze Stars before Bastogne, or I think one of them in Holland and one in the Bastogne area. So, you know, I don't really think he was a coward at all. Don't get the Bronze Star for doing nothing. And there are several accounts on why he broke down and why he froze. And yeah, as Carwood Lipton would say, he fell apart. But there are also guys who said that that Dyke was wounded. He was shot in the shoulder, and that's why he froze. Or maybe it was because of combat fatigue. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I'm not going to make a statement about that. But you know, the fact that he froze in the middle of the field and he told Easy Company to hold their positions, and they were basically shredded with artillery, mortars, machine gun fire. You know, that actually happened. And Winters did send in Speirs to take over for Dyke, and you know, Winters had said, you know, I don't know why I picked Speirs. He was just there. He looked, you know, to the side of him, and Speirs was there, and he said, Speirs, go in and take over. And Speirs ran into the field, took over command of Easy Company, and led the attack on Foy. And right behind me, across that hill, that's where the town of Foy is, and we're going to go there now. And we're going to the iconic location where Speirs made his run through the German lines, because that also really happened. So on the show they show Speirs running through the town for quite a long distance, but actually he ran from this white house across this road over there to where those two poles are. There used to be a school building over there. An iron company was behind that school building, and Speirs had to link up with them because they had no communications whatsoever. And when he linked up with them, he ran back across this road to his position at this house. The distance that Speirs ran in real life compared to the distance he ran on the show from that house behind me is much shorter, but it doesn't make it any less heroic. It is pretty, badass thing to do from him. He just took over from Easy Company, and he could have sent anybody to run that road. He could have said, run and link up with Iron Company and then come back, but he did it himself as company commander and lead by example. That's the way he did things, and I think that's a pretty badass thing to do. And so yeah, this is the location where Speirs made his famous run from that house right behind me. On Band of Brothers in episode 7 we see the attack on Foix, and you can see the soldiers started running towards the town through the open field, and that's where Dyke fell apart and he froze. Well, that's actually only platoon, 1st and 2nd platoon who go up that field. 3rd platoon was sent down this road behind me as a diversion around the village. 3rd platoon was commanded by Ed Shames that day, and one of the guys that was on 3rd platoon was Shifty Powers. And now I'm standing very close to the house that's around the corner there where Shifty Powers shot the sniper, and I'm gonna head over there now to show you that location. So I now walked up to the house where Shifty Powers shot the sniper, and it was this white house behind me. He was on this corner of this house, and you can see on the show that Garwood Lipton runs across the road to expose the sniper, and then Shifty shoots him. Well, the real Shifty Powers came back here in 2015, and he stated that that didn't happen. He just knew the sniper was there. He never saw the guy, but he knew he was there because of the puffs of breath that were coming out the window, because it was really cold. And that's how he knew he was there, and he just shot him. And they knew there was a sniper picking off the guys, like Frank Mallet was shot, and so that's where he knew where he was and how we shot him. So this is the corner of the house where Shifty Powers was, and the sniper was way over there in that top window of that house. And that's still the same house like it was in the war, so I'm not gonna walk over there, and you can see some pretty cool battle damage on that house as well. So yeah, this is where Shifty Powers was, and that house over there is where the sniper was. So I now walked up to the house where the sniper was. This is the window, top window where the sniper was behind, and you can still see here on this house the battle damage from the war. It's not probably only from that Shifty encounter. There was some fierce fighting going on for several hours. I think the Battle of Foix lasted for like 18 hours in total. Easy Company was involved for like 6 hours. So yeah, lots of fighting going on, lots of shooting going on. So that's battle damage from the entire battle probably. And the town of Foix changed hands numerous times. The Germans took it back, the Americans took it back again. So you can't really tell which battle damage is which, of course, but yeah, you can still see it pretty clearly on this house. This location where Shifty Powers shot the sniper from this white house behind me, this is the last location that I'm going to show you guys in this video. And yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed this video and all the locations that I showed you. If you ever have the chance to visit this area, please do so. It's pretty epic and pretty special to walk on those locations where so much history took place. And yeah, I want to say thank you for watching, and hope you liked this video, like I said. And if you liked it, maybe you can consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on any new videos that come out in the future. So thanks for watching again, and see you on the next one.